Happy Monday, Michelle Lee here with the Sophia Mystery School. I'm jumping in here to talk about shadow integration, becoming 5D. We hear so much being talked about in the world about ascending and the new earth and the fifth dimension. And the truth is that it's up to us. The fifth dimension is achieved through us. We become fifth dimensional. And there are 3 pillars in becoming fifth dimensional. Those pillars are shadow integration. Knowing your wholeness and your power requires the shadow integration. Becoming one and unifying with everyone, oneness consciousness, which requires healing those 4 core wounds which cause separation. And finally, our personal sovereignty, embodying our personal sovereignty, being sovereign in this world, which requires understanding your power through declarative prayer, the power of words, and rituals, which is harnessing that power. And I wanted to jump in here today and talk about the pillar of shadow integration and the truth that we are not in the world, we are the world. This meaning that we see the world through our own filters. We don't actually see the world as it is. There is no world as it is. Everyone is having their own personalized experience of the planet, of other people, of ourselves, because we're seeing through the filter of our programming, through the filter of our shadow, that part of us that we don't even want to look at. And so when I talk about the shadow, a lot of people equate that to the evil side of yourself or the bad side of yourself. And the truth is that there is no good or bad. The duality, we are dual beings, right? And we came to a duality planet, a polarized planet, to experience ourselves in all aspects, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly, the light, the dark, all of it. But the programming has invited us to only accept the good, that's how our shadow is formed. Oh, I deny that about myself. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I imagined that. I can't believe I felt that. I'm going to hide that over here. That becomes our shadow. Shadow integration is simply making the unconscious conscious, owning all parts of yourself. And I had a great experience of this not too long ago with plant medicine. Plant medicine accelerates everything. Right? We can experience and learn and grow through just our conscious awareness if you set your intention to do that, right? If you're like, okay, I'm going to be radically honest with myself, and that takes a little more time. Plant medicine speeds it up a little bit, and what has done for me is revealed the shadow self. I didn't think about there being a shadow self before I took my first ayahuasca journey, and then I was like face to face with my shadow, and it was terrifying. But I understand the shadow now. I get it, and I am no longer terrified, and I can go into those dark spaces as I did recently with plant medicine and recognize, oh, I'm in this dark space. And a realization that I had recently was that when we are in those dark spaces, and we can be in those dark spaces anytime you're feeling depressed, angry, whatever it is, we see the world through that filter, right? The world doesn't have to change. Our circumstances don't have to change. If we're in a mood, if we're in a dark mood, we can feel like, oh, why am I even alive? What is this? What's the point? I don't even matter. I don't, whatever the stories are. The next day we can be in a better mood, and we can be inspired and motivated and excited for life. And I gotta turn my little heater off here. I'm getting hot. and we'll have a completely different outlook. And so that's why I'm saying we are not in the world, we are the world. That our perspective, our perception of the world is totally shaded by our shadow self. What we hide from ourselves is being reflected around us, because if we're not willing to look within and discover that shadow self, own it and embrace it, then it will be reflected in the world. It will be reflected in our spouse. It will be reflected in our children. It will be reflected in global news, right? Whatever is going on out there is simply a reflection of what's going on in here. And when you recognize that, like, I am the world, then everything else becomes much more powerful. When you're ready to own the power that you've hidden in your shadow, right? Understand and recognize, oh, when you see somebody raging at somebody else, when you can stop going from judgment of like, oh, look at that horrible person, they're awful, right? And go, under the right circumstances, I could rage too. And have compassion for that person, that they're experiencing their total unconscious perfect storm shadow, the shadow that they repressed for however long is now coming out at somebody who didn't deserve it, probably. You know, nobody deserves that kind of behavior. So understanding that everything is being a reflection of what's going on within you gives you your power back. You're reclaiming your power. You're seeing the truth of yourself and understanding that we are multifaceted individuals, that we have light, we have dark, we're dual. We came here to have this dual experience. And you reclaim your power, right? If you don't have full sovereignty, if you think, I can't be that, right? One common one with us women is like, I don't want to become my mother. I'm not her. And you have just limited yourself, because now your focus on not being somebody is robbing you of your sovereignty. You're focused on moving away from something instead of being inspired to move towards something, towards your wholeness. And great healing happens when you can look at another person, especially our mothers, with compassion and understanding. And then we can look at ourselves that way. And no longer are we defining ourselves by what we're not. We can then define ourselves by what our full potential, our full potentiality. And understanding that within us is everything, the potential for everything. Different things are just nurtured. Different things are nurtured. But when we formed, we have the entire ocean within us. We're a drop of the ocean with the entire ocean within us. And so we have the potential to be serial killers. We have the potential to be abusers. We have the potential to be saints. All of the potential is within us. But if we go, oh, I only focus on being a saint, and we don't recognize and acknowledge and love and accept and embrace those shadow parts of us, then we actually can never be that saint. We can never be as loving and compassionate as we envision ourselves to be. And you'll notice this because, as humans, right? Like, I get up, I meditate, I'm like, I'm all about peace, I'm all about love. And then I'll see something on Facebook or in the news, and it's like, oh, I don't want that. I don't like that person. I don't like that. And then in shadow integration, it's going, well, what part of me is just like that person? Knowing that I have the potential to come off that way, to say those words, to have those beliefs, It's understanding and embracing that shadow. If we don't embrace that shadow, I read someplace our shadows, if we don't bring light to our shadows, if we don't see them ourselves, they go into the basement and they lift weights. So they get even stronger. They get stronger if we don't embrace them and love them. So know this, I want to leave this with you on this beautiful Monday morning, is know that you are not in the world. I talk a lot about that. Like, we're not in the world. We want to be in the world, but not of it. But we're not actually in the world. We are the world. Everything we see around us is a part of us. We have that within us. We have the beautiful nature within us. We have the hurricane within us. We have the beautiful saints within us. We have the wisest people within us, and we have the densest, darkest individuals within us too. And choosing to be whole is what makes us 5D. All right, everyone. I would love to hear your comments. What are your thoughts? What questions do you have around shadow integration or shadow work that you may have tumbling around in your mind? You don't know how to answer it, or, post any questions you have down below. I would love to answer them. I will answer every single question. All right, everyone. Mwah. Bye for now. Have an amazing day.